welcome back into another episode of the Bet On Me podcast. I am your host, Daniel Perkins. It is Monday, January 24th, 2022. Let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to talk about the NFL semifinals to the championship games this weekend to see who goes to the Super Bowl. We had some great ones. We had a shootout in Kansas City, came down to overtime last night. A lot of people wanting to change the rules. I say, hey, let's just go ahead and take defense out of the game, guys. If we're just going to go ahead and just complain about the rules and change them, like literally does every year, every playoff, after every season, is it really necessary to change rules? Like, really? Just because your team didn't win doesn't mean that you should change the rules just to benefit your team. I am really overhearing that. That is a topic that I woke up to this morning, and I don't care for it because I don't care. You have a defense for a reason. You have defensive coaches. You spend all this money on defensive players. Maybe try not to spend so much money on the offense. Don't spend, $500 million on a quarterback, like they did in Kansas City. If you have to go up against a quarterback like that, why don't you spend that kind of money on your defense? Spend $100,000 on some players on defense, or $100 million on players on defense, and see what happens. Because I just think that it's funny that when a team loses in overtime like that, they're like, "Oh, change the rules." We don't talk about all the times that defenses. Somebody is getting it down the road there. We don't talk about all the times that defenses are in a position to win games for a team in overtime, and I just don't understand it. Like we're such prisoners of the moment. Your team lost in overtime. Apparently, Kansas City celebrated when they won the coin flip. Josh Allen said they would have celebrated as well. I personally don't care because the game's not over. Because Matt Hasselbeck, the famous last words were that, we want the ball, we're going to win. They got the ball. They didn't win the game, guys. That's what I'm saying. So all this, overtime, if you win the coin flip, you get the ball. Ask Matt Hasselbeck. Ask him if that's the truth, because it's not the truth. And that's what I don't understand. And every time this happens, I feel like that's what, a lot of these places go back to. They're like, well, this is what happened. Well, there's a lot of times defense stands up and wins the game in overtime. And if you stop the offense from scoring a TD in overtime, then you can just go down and kick a field goal and win the game. You don't have to score a touchdown. The offense has to score a touchdown. They have to. That's just how it is. And if the offense scores a touchdown, you go down, you score a touchdown, you win the game. You kick a field goal, you tie it up, second overtime. I think the rules are fine. I think teams just need to understand the importance of defense, and fans need to understand the importance of defense. So now that I've ranted about that for a little bit, because that really got on my nerves when I woke up this morning and seen that on all the platforms, let's go ahead and talk about the Bengals and Titans here. The Bengals moving on, beating the Titans 16-19. Joe Burrow had a hell of a game. He played really good. 28-37 attempts, completion to attempts. He had 348 yards. He played a really good game. Looks like they got to him a couple times there on the sacks. But Tannehill on the other side went 15 for 24, 220 yards. And, the team really tried to ride Derrick Henry, and that's the way the game went. They tried to, he got a touchdown, of course, and his longest was 9 yards, but he just, 62 yards for 20 carries. That's not really Derrick Henry, man. I knew coming into that game he wasn't really 100%. They knew he wasn't 100%. He's playing with a metal foot in his plate. They were all hyped about having him out there. He was hyped about being there. I mean, there's not really much you can do, when you've got an injured Derrick Henry. But the Tennessee Titans, I never looked at them as a contender this year. I know a lot of people probably did. I didn't. I never thought they had it in them to be able to get there. San Francisco 49ers beating the Green Bay Packers, the swan song of Aaron Rodgers. Is that his last time that he's going to play in Lambeau Field? I think so. A lot of people are saying he's going to go to Denver. I think that Jerry Jones needs to do whatever he can possible to get Aaron Rodgers wearing the star on his helmet, because Aaron wants a Super Bowl before he leaves, and Jerry Jones wants a Super Bowl before he leaves. So I think they need to get together. Like I've said before on other podcasts, I don't think Dak is the answer. I don't know how it happens. I don't know if it's even possible that it can happen, but I think Aaron Rodgers to Denver is not a good fit. I don't see it. There's no one there. There's nothing. Aaron says he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild, and that's a rebuild. So Aaron wants to go somewhere where he can plug and play and get to the playoffs, and that the only team I see doing that with him is the Dallas Cowboys. So remember that I'm saying that here. Anyway, Jimmy Garoppolo, 11 for 19, 131 yards passing, one interception, but they did what they could. Deebo Samuel carried the team as he always does. 39 yards, 10 carries rushing. He also had some receiving, three receptions, 44 yards, and they just got it. They just got it done. They got it done the best way they could. They came out, they played, they got the defensive touchdown there that got them in. Who was that guy that scored? Hold on, that was Hofsky. I can't even pronounce his name, but he was out there. Got that turnover, got that interception. It wasn't interception. It was just I believe it was a turnover. Just a turnover turned into a touchdown there. But that was a really crazy game for Green Bay, because Green Bay, I expected a lot more out of Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to say that he could care less either way, but I mean, everything going on, how the season started, to get where they get, to as far as they do, I mean, that's pretty good in my eyes, but I think Aaron was ready to move on and, go to a different team there. Also, the Los Angeles Rams moving past the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay trying to come back. And we've seen Antonio Brown trolling the Bucs, saying Bucs eliminated, like it's funny. But after he comes out and says he shouldn't have done that, it was unprofessional, and he comes out and does that. Well, it just goes to show you why the guy will never be in the league again. And if he ever is, I will never support the team, the franchise organization that brings him back after acting like that and quitting a job like that. Because when I quit my job at Wendy's over here, and I walk out and throw my cap and my shirt at them, and throw a peace sign and run out the window, the door there, they don't let me come back. So I don't care if I'm not Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's washed. I said it. You heard me say it right here at me, at the Bet On Me podcast on Instagram, at the Bet On Me pod on Twitter. You can even email your trash talk if you want to the Bet On Me podcast at gmail.com, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, but Antonio Brown is washed and he's trash. Okay, that's just all I have to say about that. Matthew Stafford, 28 for 38, 366 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had a great game. Tom Brady, 30 for 54. I mean, he was slinging it out there, doing all he could. 329 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Evans got 1. I know Fournette ran in a couple, which I had Fournette on the 2 TDs. I had it in a parlay, but I had the Bucs winning on the money line, and the Bucs didn't get it done, so it didn't really pay out for me. But I did have Fournette winning, running 2 touchdowns. I also had another one with a Fournette anytime touchdown and the Bucs on the money line, and of course the Bucs didn't get it done. But I will never not bet on Tom Brady. I had Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, as I've said before, standing to win some money on that one, and it's not going to happen now. I'll give out my pick for the Super Bowl after this weekend. I've got a pretty good idea of who I would like to see in the Super Bowl. Wouldn't mind seeing the Bengals get in there, but after this weekend, we're gonna mull it on over, and we're gonna see who's in the Super Bowl, and we're gonna get about our picks. It's starting to look, honestly, if you want my early opinion on it, it's looking like, Patrick Mahomes is going to go get another one because, he beat Josh Allen. He's going to go against some, I don't really know if Matt, that's the thing. It's looking like LA, but, Patrick Mahomes has been there before. So you got to remember that. Moving on to that game, Josh Allen, 27 for 37, 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. This guy is just, what did he ran for like, hold on. He ran for 68 yards, 11 carries. Like, the man's a beast. Dude, Josh Allen is going to be great in this league. And, they were talking about it last night as, they were shaking hands and all that and walking away from each other. But, we're going to see that a lot. That's like the new Brady Manning, like whatever. That's the new thing. Those two right there, those guys are going to be great in this league for the next. We're going to be watching them in the playoffs a lot for the next 10 years. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. And I can't wait. It's going to be great. And Matt Stafford, he's coming up in here. This is going to be a great ending to this year's NFL season. I'm telling you guys. Anyway, the Buffalo Bills didn't advance. I really wanted them to. I wanted to see them in the Super Bowl. Really rooting for Buffalo to get there. I really want Buffalo to get one, guys. I'm not lying. I am not lying. They had such a hard time. They couldn't get past the Patriots because Tom was up there. Tom finally leaves, and now they got to try to get past Patrick Mahomes. But it's okay. I think with Josh Allen, they're going to be able to do it. I think they're going to be just fine up there in Buffalo. But, yeah, last night, Patrick Mahomes, 33 for 44, 3 touchdowns, 378 yards. The man was on fire. He rushed for 69 yards, 1 touchdown. Threw one to Tyreek Hill, threw one to Kelsey, threw one to Pringle. I mean, what else can you say, guys? I mean, that was just a great game, 42-36, and I already talked a little bit about the overtime and how I think that all plays out, so I'm not getting back into that. I think that was, fair and square. So, I mean, they got it done. Yeah, it's unfortunate that you have to go up against Patrick Mahomes in that offense in overtime, but hey, you spend all that money on offense, you got to spend money on defense. And, if that's not the case, you got to spend enough money to be able to think that you can outgun somebody and not get to the point where you're in overtime. And that's another thing. Don't get to that point, Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills, Stephon Diggs. Let's go. Let's get out here. Let's get ahead while we're in regulation. Let's get the W. Let's move on to the next one. Let's not complain. I mean, he's not complaining, but we're the fans out here and people saying that, that it's not right and all this and that. We're not changing the rules so your team can win. Let's play the game in regulation. Let's get it done. Let's move on to the next one. If you lose, that's fine. You made it to overtime. That was a shot anyway. Like, that was literally just a shot for you. Like, you made it to that point. You played barely good enough to get to this point. You shouldn't even be at this point. You got lucky enough, like last second heroics to get to this point. So let's be thankful we're at this point. And if it happens for us, it happens for us. In the defense, it just didn't get it done for them. It's the thing about football. Everybody acts like it's a one-man game, all this, all that. No, Tom Brady didn't win all those Super Bowls by himself. Adam Vinatieri kicked a lot of field goals for that man to wear those rings. And I'm not hating, but because he got him in the position. But that's what I'm saying. Tom did his job. The kicker came out and did their job. Josh Allen did his job where he got him to that point. He could have done better and won them the game, yes, but he did what he could to get them to that point. Then when they lose the coin flip, it's the defense's turn to step up and stop them from scoring a touchdown. At least hold them to 3. They don't win the game if they kick a field goal. You still have an opportunity to go down and score and win the game. Or you can kick a field goal and tie it up. I've already explained this. I think the rules are perfectly fine. I think if your team loses, you can go on Twitter or whatever and, talk about it and say the rules need to be changed and the refs are awful, just like the thing that happened with Dak where the ref had to jump in front of him. The ref had to do that. He has to touch the ball and position it before it can go. He's a part of the game. If you run into him, if the ball hits him, same thing in basketball. They are a part of the game. They're a part of the floor. Like, play doesn't stop if you trip over them. Like, you get up and keep going. You can't foul on the ref, So we got to stop blaming stuff on the rules and on the refs, and we got to make sure our teams are doing what they need to do to win these games. And I think the Bills are going to be able to get past them eventually. It may take a few years, but guys, hey, that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you got to go through heartache, and your team has to work, persevere. I think Josh Allen wants it. I think Josh Allen will get to the Super Bowl eventually. I'm going to go ahead and give that much to him. Tonight, guys, we have all kinds of games. We're going to go ahead and jump in the NHL first. NHL, that is. We're going to go ahead. Dallas Stars are taking on the Philly Flyers tonight. Philly is a dog at home for some reason. I don't like that at all. I'm going to take Philly plus 1.5 on the puck line tonight because I just don't like them being a home dog against Dallas. I know unless somebody's out or something I don't know about, I don't like that at all. That's sneaky right there. I feel like you got the Rangers and the Kings. The Rangers at home. Take the Rangers at home on the money line. That's probably a good bet right there. Also tonight, you got the Bruins, you got Boston. You got the Boston Bruins over here taking on the Anaheim Ducks. I'm going to roll with Boston tonight on the puck line. I'm going to give them a puck and a half against the Anaheim Ducks. Anaheim Ducks have not been playing good hockey lately. I would not put my money in their direction. Also tonight, we got the Capitals against the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm going to ride with the Vegas Golden Knights on the puck line plus 1.5. I think that they keep up and at least keep it within one, if not win the game outright. You could throw it on the money line there. It's plus 134. That's what I would actually take, my personal money. But if you guys want to know what I would take as far as like sure thing bet where I think is going to win, like I love gambling. So if it's plus money and I think a team's going to win, I'll go ahead and throw it on there because that's good value. I mean, why not? But if you want the safe bet tonight, I would take the Golden Knights plus 1.5 on the puck line. They're going to be able to keep up with the Washington Capitals tonight. We got the Minnesota Wild at home, the Canadians. I'd stay away from that game. The money line is minus 350 for the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild probably blow them out, but I mean, there's no value at that game. I wouldn't touch the puck line. Pretty sure Canadians keep up. If you want to do anything, plus 118 on the puck line right there. 1.5 pucks being slapped into the net, keeping up with Minnesota Wild there as dogs away are the Canadians. So I'm probably just going to stay away from that one or hit it on the puck line there for the Canadians, plus 1.5. Chicago Blackhawks going into the Avalanche. I'd take the money line. Or, it's minus 310. You could slap as much as you want on there and maybe win you $20. Or you could take the Colorado Avalanche on the puck line, minus 1.5 pucks. That's at minus 132. I'm pretty sure the Colorado Avalanche slap in about 4 or 5 pucks tonight against Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago Blackhawks on the puck line, plus 108. I don't like that. I feel like that's like kind of a bait trying to get you to take it. I don't like that at all. I'm going to go with Colorado Avalanche, Rocky Mountain High out there. 1.5 pucks to win the game against the Blackhawks. Also tonight, we've got the Blues and the Calgary Flames. Blues coming in as a road dog, plus 126 on the money line, minus 205 on the puck line. That's 1.5 pucks on that puck line right there. Calgary Flames, minus 1.5 puck is plus 164. So if you think the Calgary Flames are going to win by 2 pucks tonight, that's pretty good value. On the money line, they're minus 152. So minus 1.5 pucks is at plus 164 on the puck line there. Okay, remember that. That's a puck. Basically 2 pucks. You got to have 2 pucks there to win against the Blues. It's good plus money, but here's something that bothers me about this game. You got the plus 164 on the puck line and minus 152 on the money line. That really makes me think the Blues are going to come in and dominate this game. I'm going to take the Blues plus 126 on the money line right there. Get them to come in and at least win by a puck. I know I said a lot of puck, a lot of halves, a lot of 1.5s, a lot of minuses. It's hard to keep up with, guys, but that's what this is, and I gave you what you're looking for there with all the picks there. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you'd like to email any questions, concerns, rants, arguments, anything you'd like to hear your question live on the podcast, go ahead and email us at the betonmepodcast at gmail.com. That's the betonmepodcast at gmail.com. Any questions, anything you want to say? I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. If you email me anything, I'll probably read it on the podcast and talk about it a little bit. Any questions, anything sports related, of course, or just whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you're listening to us on Apple and YouTube, make sure you click below in the description. We got all the socials down there, all the links to all the websites, all the premium and best picks. Bet It All pick. The Bet It All pick of the day is always up on the website. You can go over to the Instagram and Twitter to get the links to the website there. Also, links are below in the description. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the Bet On Me podcast. Let's have a great Monday. Don't forget, you can't win if you don't play, and it's always a